Most real estate agents are broke. In this episode, I'm going to tell you about why they're broke and what I've seen agents do that are completely stupid, how you can avoid it, and also going to give you my personal situation that I'm stuck in. I'm going to give away a lot of information here because why? Because I'm just a human being who's also struggling. A lot of people you see on social media, on YouTube, they show you all the good stuff, but they don't really talk about the bad stuff. And even when they do, they seem to share like this fluffy side to it, not the nitty gritty stuff that you fall into when getting into the sales industry. Because look, the reality is statistically, not everyone is like this crazy top producing agent. Now, that doesn't mean you can, doesn't mean I can't, right? But I think a big goal is a lot of agents get caught up in like, well, I'm not them, so they wash out of the industry. When the reality is you're in a position to where you can be a more successful agent. You just gotta work at it and you gotta set the right plan in place and be a part of the right community. So, getting into it, obviously when it comes to being a real estate agent, a lot of agents seem to run through this roller coaster where they don't really understand how to run a business or manage money when they get started. Your boy right here. And I can tell you when I got into the industry, I was obviously fresh out of the military. I had run a business for about a year and some change before that. And I was a mobile notary in San Diego County. I was helping escrow officers, starting to build relationships, but I didn't really understand, one, how I was getting my leads. I was just like taking these paid services that would take a cut, right? Sound familiar in this industry? And I realized I was wasting all this time. It wasn't a leverage business, which is why I ultimately got convinced and chose to get my real estate license and get into this industry. But I was making about $4,000 a month at the end of that before taxes when I finished. And I realized, I'm like, this is great, but I can do better. I know I can do better. And when I switched into this industry, it was right in COVID, it was starting to really ramp up, especially in California and California, where it was just getting crazy. And, I joined my brokerage and I learned really quick, no one teaches you how to manage your money. It's like what I consider when it comes to like professional athletes. So have you ever looked up, and I don't remember the statistic, but remember if you look up with professional athletes, like they're in a situation where a majority of them are bankrupt by the time they get out of the professional sport, especially this one is definitely particularly to the NFL and professional basketball. Why? Because no one teaches them how to manage their money. A lot of us come from middle class or lower families when we get into a lot of these professions because we're trying to have a better life. No one sits down and teaches you how you need to actually manage your money. Now, obviously, one of my most favorite methods, and I'll give this to you for free here, you don't have to pay for nothing, and that's the profit first method. So if you don't know what that is, go ahead, look up Profit First. And now there is a book specifically Profit First for real estate agents. You don't have to do that perfectly. Even like the main from Mike Malkowicz, the Profit First book, completely changed my mind. And I realized for most small business owners that are like, a couple employees or VAs or less, it is a perfect method to get you in a good, stable foundation. Now, I do think talking to more successful people when you hit a more complicated business and with a lot of people, a lot of agents underneath you, gets a little different to be able to manage it. The principles apply, but you might have to change things up a little bit. But I think it's great for any individual agent who is out there learning to take that method. I'm telling you, it would change your life. Now, I've seen a lot of agents who they start to get their first commission checks and they run into a situation, where they're like, oh, I need to buy stuff. I've done that, right? Now, I didn't buy crap. I was like, oh, I gotta buy this course or this thing, and like that's completely garbage. Because the reality is you're just gonna buy all that stuff. Like, you earn that money. How about you take care of your family and maybe get some savings first? Or better yet, my favorite way is to maybe either get some investments, something that's gonna pay you back, maybe some stocks with dividends, maybe saving up to get that real estate investment. Whatever it is, you need to make sure, like the one thing that's hard about commissions is it goes up and down, up and down, up and down. It's like this roller coaster. And I know that I'm still trying to get off the roller coaster, right? And I've met agents before who, my favorite agents to meet aren't the ones that you see on social media. Some of them have been the ones where I just go to random meetups and you start talking to them and you're like, dude, this guy's like a millionaire. But you don't even know his face. Now, for some of you, you might like to be the face and you want to be out there and open and have everything out and about. Obviously, I hear on YouTube, but the reality is like I want to be able to go out in public and not have anyone bother me sometimes. Because that's just, I don't need to be bothered all the time, with some like that big faces in our industry. But some of them, like I remember this, I was at this meetup for the Channel Junkies event, my upline in Arizona I think it was in 2022. And you sit down with this guy and he's like, look, man, he's like, the reality is, he's like, I do social media and stuff like that to generate clients and build my real estate team. He's like, but I take all of my commission now. He's like, I started small and now I started big and I put it into investments. I buy real estate investments. He's like, and that money is what I live off of. And it made me realize, I'm like, I went from having a couple rentals in 2017 onward, and I sold those off mid-COVID, trying to reinvent myself. And I realized I shouldn't have left that. I probably should have stayed going harder into those. But you live and learn. It's mistakes that you live and you're like, you know what, that was very, very dumb. I won't do that again. And it's good. But that's how you really protect yourself against this commission roller coaster. A lot of agents right now in this market, they're struggling, and I felt the pressure too, right? I've lost a couple deals because rates are too high and they're out and they're washed out. It happens. You have to get creative, and you have to realize that you have to make sure you manage your money for these times, setting aside money to make sure. Obviously, I have multiple VAs. It is common practice in the Philippines. Every December, they get a full month pay. That's like $980 per VA, and I have 2 of them, right? And for small-time agents, that might destroy them having to do that. Which is why, also, if you are someone who's looking to get a community, who's trying to build, like maybe you're someone who doesn't want to be a real estate agent for the rest of your life, or maybe you feel like you're running a real estate business, whether you're in the military, you're a single parent, it does not matter, and you feel like you just can't get everything done. Well, in our course, in our blueprint, the Target Agent Blueprint is exactly how we create this to go about helping people like yourself take our proven system to get some time back in your week. I mean, imagine spending half the hours every week building your business, having it still grow, and you're only worrying about the most important things. Why? Because you don't need to be self-employed, you need to be a business owner. Well, that link is down below. Go ahead and click it, head up to it, and maybe if you want to talk more about what it can do for you, or if you're looking at partnering with us, because obviously anyone at EXP gets it for free, you don't have to, but it is down below. Hit that link, or you can always schedule that Zoom call down below, and we'll be glad to talk with you about joining. Or if you just have questions about it, you can do that too. I really don't care. I'm an open book. It is not for everyone. Like if I don't think it's a fit for you, I will tell you, because I don't need you to give me any money or join me at EXP if you're not going to have a good time, if you're not going to learn and grow, because I don't need that. I've had enough bad people in my life. So that link's always down below. Now, I can tell you, so my situation right now is this. So obviously, if you never moved across the country, it is expensive. So I moved across the country. I am in a situation where I'm still building a new construction home that has been a bad financial decision for 2 years. Unfortunately, it went one bad builder. We're working on it now. It's moving through. But those mistakes cost us money. So you need like $5,000 here, $8,000 to get our stuff all the way over from California. The cost of getting all the kids out here, the rising cost of all the food and housing and all this stuff, getting a rental in between with a security deposit, all this stuff really puts you back behind about $30,000. And honestly, it could go a lot farther. If someone who's never been in debt, I can tell you, maybe you're feeling this pain as you're listening to this or watching this, wherever you're getting this, you're probably in a situation where it's like, I feel like I just can't get ahead. And I can tell you, we have cut our expenses immensely, and you only can cut expenses so far. And now it's at the point where things have gotten so expensive where like the only thing I can do is put my nose to the ground and do what I do best, which is find clients and close them. And while it might be difficult, it's not impossible. And I can tell you that's where I'm a lot of things in my business. Why? I'm about to talk to my sister. She wants to do commission only, where she's reaching out to sellers for me. And if I close them, she gets a piece of the commission. It's only part-time, but I'm not paying her up front. Finding things like that, opportunities like that. Making sure my VAs, how can I get them more productive? How can I get more time from them? It's all these small things that I'm sitting down and I could sit down and cry and be like, oh, life's, I'm losing all my money. I can't do anything, but I'm not. I'm digging into it, and we're going to figure it out, because you have to. And if you're watching this or listening to this and you're in the same boat, it'll be okay. You gotta figure it out. If you're in this industry, figure it out and get out of that hole. The trick is this is probably the second time I've been in this hole, and that's why my business partner's on deployment right now, because he's still in the military. But even when he comes back, I'm like, hey man, I'm starting to set some things aside. We are gonna put as much of our commission into rentals as possible. Because why? Because 2 commission checks of 6-figure agents are way better than 1. And we can be able to get out of that race, because our families deserve it. Heck, honestly, I think it's okay to be a little selfish. You deserve it. We deserve it. Because the reality is this commission real estate agents are broke because they take that money and they spend it. Well, guess what? It's sales. Commission money goes up and it goes down. It goes up and it goes down. And some months are worse and better and worse and better. And you need some kind of steady income in between there. It could be stock dividends. It could be maybe another business that's in a different industry that's a little more stable. It could be a laundromat. I really don't care what you spend your money on. I just think I've learned now with my mistakes that it needs to be something that gives you a more consistent paycheck every single month, because real estate commission checks, they come and they go, even for big teams. Trust me, when I first got in the industry, I've been on a big team. I got the blessing of being able to see, even for a top 1% team in like San Diego, what it looks like when their commissions go up and down throughout an entire year. It happens. But what did my broker and like the other successful people in that team do? They had rentals. They had some other form of investment bringing them money. You know, they weren't just living off their sales commission. I think that's the real trick. Now, it's easier said than done, right? This market is crazy, rates are high. I can tell you there's always a way. You can't get caught up. And that's what's one big thing about this as well, because maybe you know that you're like, Cameron, I just need help. Well, a virtual assistant can do that too. So don't forget, always down below, I created a free how to hire a virtual assistant class. Look, the reality is there are amazing companies out there that can hire your VA for you and do an amazing job, probably a better job than you could. But the reality is I realized is not everyone has $4,000 to drop on a VA to get hired. That's probably as much as they have to pay for their paycheck every single month, right? So that's why I created a free course. No stops, exactly what I've done to personally hire VAs in the past. Down below, you sign up, completely free. I'm telling you, I literally didn't hold anything back because I feel like agents like yourself need that information more than anyone in the world, especially right now in this market, to be able to get that knowledge to where they can get help to get their business off the ground. Because the reality is that every single one of us as agents is having to do more activity to get that result, just because the rates are so high and it's just a tighter market. But the moral of the story is this, to wrap everything up, you have to figure out how most agents are broke because they take that sales money and they just spend it. Don't be that person. Figure out how to get investments. And that's the one great thing I realized. It's like I couldn't find a community of agents who really felt as passionately about this as I did. They were either in their own group and they're like, we're already here. You can't be a part of our group. Well, we're got our group, the old boys club. Or they're the agents that are just spending money and they're like, woe is me. Rates are high, times are terrible. So that's why I went out and created my own community. And you know what the great thing is? I have no doubt that eventually one of our students will probably join together and we will buy investments. Why? Because as a group and a community, we are stronger than individually. And it's like if you have a bundle of sticks, one stick breaks easy, but when you have them all together, a little bit harder to break. Hope you got value in this episode, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And don't forget, if any part of this resonates with you, you can always comment down below and make sure you like and subscribe. See you in the next episode.